This is chapter number 9 of Science, 8th standard. We are going to start with metals and non-metals. What do you mean by metals and non-metals? So we are going to study in this chapter. As of now, 118 elements are known to be present, out of which only 98 elements are naturally occurring. These elements differ from each other in many ways. Different elements have different properties. Now, first of all, what do you mean by elements? What is meant by element? Element is a pure substance which cannot be broken down further. Example: iron, oxygen, hydrogen, gold and helium. These are all elements. Let's do an activity to understand. Elements differ in their properties. Metals such as iron, aluminium, iodine and bromine. Okay. Take the samples of iron, aluminium, iodine and bromine. Note down the appearance and state of each sample. Clean the surface of each sample and note down the appearance again. Find out which of the elements samples are also found in the form of wires and then take their wires and clamp them on respective stands. Fix a pin to the free end of each wire using a wax. Now heat the wire using a Bunsen burner near the place where they are clamped. Okay, so in short, what we are going to see, these are mixture of elements. Okay, now see, iron, aluminium and iodine are found in which state? They are always found in the solid state, whereas bromine is found in the liquid state. Okay, iron and aluminium have dash surfaces. If you have seen the aluminium metal, what does it have? It have shyness. Okay, it is very lustrous. Similarly, metal has a shiny, all the metals have a shiny surface. Dash and dash are also available in the form of wires and conduct heat. So copper and nickel are also available in the form of wires, means the wires can be made out of these metals. What is the conclusion? These elements have different properties. Thus, for their easy study, elements which have similar property to one another are clubbed together and their general characteristics are studied. So in this particular chapter, you are going to discover where are metals and non-metals found, and we have to compare the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. Classification of elements. The elements have similar properties, are grouped together and their general properties are studied. Now, elements may be of two kinds, metals and non-metals. Occurrence of elements. How does it happen? Where do they are found? Metals are known to exist in abundance in Earth's crust. Aluminium, iron, copper, sodium and potassium are all metals. You can underline aluminium, iron, copper and sodium. These are all metals. Aluminium is the most abundant metal on the earth. Okay, aluminium is found everywhere. Even the wires can be made, or even the vessels can be made up of aluminium. Okay, and iron is the second. That's why you can see iron is used in day-to-day life. For example, iron is used in the fan, iron is used in the washing machine or refrigerator. Everywhere this iron is used. Also, it is a good conductor of electricity. Different metals have their different reactivity. Highly reactive metals such as potassium, sodium, aluminium and zinc do not occur in free state in the Earth's crust, but are found in the form of their compounds such as oxides, sulfides and carbonates. Gold, silver and platinum are the metals which are less reactive and found in the elemental or native state. Now, some elements are found, not all the elements are found in their pure state. Some elements are found very impure, okay, in the form of their compounds such as oxides or sulfides or carbonates. Now we are going to see a picture of the elements. So these are all, see how they are found in impure state and how they are made into sheets. Okay, they are found in the impure state and how they are meant to make coin. See, gold. Gold is used in jewelry and also in contact in electrical switches. Okay, see how they are found in impure state, copper, and how they are made. Okay, they are refined. Iron, impure state. Mercury, so these are useful metals. Here is the pie diagram is given. See students, you can see oxygen is also one type of a metal. Silicon, sodium, potassium, magnesium, hydrogen, aluminum. Okay, these are the percentage in which they are found inside Earth's crust. Now minerals and ores. Minerals are naturally occurring inorganic compound of elements and are found deep under the surface of the earth. Where they are found, they are always found deep inside the earth. Of all minerals of a metal, only a few are used as a source to extract metal out of them. Such sources are called ores. Okay, from where the metals can be extracted, metals can be purified, so this will be known as ores. So once again, of all the minerals of the metal, only a few are used as a source to extract metals. Not all the minerals are not used. Okay, only few are used to make or to take out, extract metals from them. Such sources are called ores. All ores are minerals, but not all minerals are ores. Okay, all ores can be, of course they are minerals. Okay, but not all minerals are ores. Only from few only ores the minerals can be extracted and metals can be extracted. Okay, not all. Here is a picture given of few more minerals and they are ores. See students, these are the different kinds of ores, minerals. Okay, some are useful, from where we can find out metals. Okay, this is copper, bauxite, these are the names of the metals and they are ores. Okay, sodiums can be extracted from the ore of sodium carbonate and their chemical formula is Na2CO3. Also, sodium common salt can be extracted from sodium, that is NaCl, that is used in everyday lives. Okay, sodium salt, and this is a common salt. This is which you put in the vegetables to cook. Okay, aluminum is taken out from the bauxite ore. Okay, that you can find here. See here bauxite, aluminum is taken out from this. Okay, kaolin or corundum. Okay, these are the chemical formula: La2O3 into 2H2O3, Al2O3 into 6SiO2 into 2H2O. Okay. Okay students, now iron can be extracted from hematite, magnetite and siderite. Okay, magnetite is here. See, from here iron can be extracted. Okay. Copper, magnesium can be extracted from magnesite and dolomite. Okay. See students, magnesite is here, from where magnesium can be extracted. And copper can be extracted from cuprite and copper glands. Okay, these are all the chemical formula: Cu2O and Cu2S. Okay, now the process by which a pure metal is extracted from its ore is called metallurgy. Very important line of this chapter. Okay, now no metal is found in its purest form. Even if you are going to get the gold, it is not going to be found in the pure state. It is found in very impure state. Okay, you have to purify it in order to get the pure metal. So the process by which a pure metal is extracted or taken out, refined from its ore is called metallurgy. Okay, what it is called as metallurgy. So there are 3 steps involved in this metallurgy. Okay, this process involves various steps which depend upon the reactivity of the metal that has to be extracted from its ore. Generally, the extraction involves the following steps. See students, now also I am telling these are the ores from which the metals can be extracted. Okay, see, you can see in the picture. Okay, so now we'll start. How does this process begin? In this process, first step, the impurities from the ore, i.e. gong, are removed. Okay, there are impure metal. Can you spot any type of metal in this? Okay, can you spot any type of a metal? Can you see, can you feel that aluminum will be taken out from this rock? No, it has to be purified enough to get the proper metal. Okay, second step is what? The refined ore then undergoes this process where the metal ore is reduced to get the metal in its free state. Furthermore, they are refined, okay, so that the metals can all the more metals can be reduced and more metals we can get from the ore. And step number 3, refining of the metal. Okay, what do you mean by refining of the metal? The metal thus obtained, whatever metal is obtained, which is, that is of course impure, so here the metals gets its refining. Okay, the metal has to be purified enough to be used. Okay, so first one is concentration of the ore. What is happening in this? Impurities are clean. Second one, the refined ore then undergoes this process where the metal ore is reduced. Furthermore, they are reduced. Okay, reduced to take out all the metal from the ore. And third one is metal is refined enough to be used in the daily life. Non-metals are mostly found in their free state in the atmosphere. Carbon, nitrogen, sulfur and oxygen are some of the examples of non-metal. Non-metals also exist in the form of compounds. For example, carbon exists in, carbon is a non-metal. Okay, it exists in free state such as graphite, diamond. Do you know diamond is also a non-metal? Okay, and fullereness. Also, it is found to exist as carbon dioxide, which is found as the form of gas, carbonates and bicarbonates. Similarly, sulfur exists in its free state and the combined state as sulfides and sulfates. Physical property of metal and non-metal. What are the physical property by which we can differentiate that this is a metal and this is not a metal? The physical property of metal and non-metal include physical state. By physical state, by looking at them, color, luster means shine, hardness, malleability, ductility, sonority, thermal and electrical conductivity, and melting and boiling point. So these are all the criteria by which we can just see and feel that this is a metal and this is a non-metal. So what happens as a physical state? How do we look at the metal? Metals. Most of the metals such as iron, copper, aluminium, sodium are solid at room temperature. Of course, you might have seen. However, mercury is an exception and it is liquid at or near room temperature. You might have seen mercury in the clinical thermometer. Okay, but it is a metal, but it isn't highly poisonous and it is found in the clinical thermometer because it has high melting and boiling points. Okay. Non-metals, okay, they exist either as in gas form or at the room temperature. Example, carbon. Carbon is a non-metal but it exists in the free state, okay, in the air. Also in the form of the diamond. Diamond in the solids in nature, okay, and oxygen exists as a gas. So oxygen, carbon are the non-metals, okay, and diamond is also a non-metal. Bromine is an exception and exists as a liquid. All the non-metals are solid only, but only except bromine, okay, because it is existing in the liquid state. Colors of metal and non-metal. Metal. Most of these elements are white or silvery gray. For example, sodium, gold, copper are exception as they are yellow and reddish brown in color respectively. Of course, they are silvery metals. You might have seen metallic items into your house. You might have seen they have a grayish color. But for example, copper and gold, gold is yellow in color and copper is reddish brown in color, but they are also metal. Non-metal, some of these elements are colorless while some of them are colored. For example, oxygen you have seen, it is a non-metal but it is a colorless, and nitrogen is also a colorless gas. Chlorine is in the form of greenish yellow gas, okay, and iodine is a violet solid. Why iodine exists in the form of solid. Now luster. Luster means shine, okay. Metal, of course, you might have seen any metallic thing that will have a shine on it. They have lustrous or shiny surface. This is because of the fact that metals can be polished. Owing to the lustrous property of gold, silver and platinum, these metals are used for making jewelry and other decorative articles. Okay, so gold can be made into jewelries. Okay, see student, this is gold, how shiny it is. Okay, it can be made in the form of the ring and we can wear it in everyday lives. Okay, how lustrous this gold is. But as compared to the shiny surfaces of metals, non-metals have dull surfaces. They are not very colorful, okay, they are very dull and not shiny. Most non-metals exist as a powdered form, gases and liquid. Thus they cannot be polished because some are found in the form of gas, some are found in the form of liquid, and you are not going to polish this liquid, so they cannot be polished. However, graphite and iodine are exception. Graphite can be polished and iodine are the exception. They do show some luster and shine. Okay, you can see this platinum jewelry. This is also a form of a metal which has shine. Now hardness. Metals, most of these elements are hard and strong. They have high tensile strength. Therefore, metals such as copper, aluminum are used to make utensils and other tools. Sodium, lithium and potassium are some of the exception as these metals are soft and can be cut with the knife. So you cannot make any utensils with sodium, lithium and potassium because they are extremely soft, but you can make vessels with aluminum and copper. Okay, you might have seen at your house also. Non-metals, they are generally soft. They are not as hard as metals. They are soft with an exception of diamond. You know, diamond is the most hard substance found substance on the earth. They are very, very hard. Diamond is the hardest of all the substance. Okay. Malleability. Now, what do you mean by malleability? Metals. Most of the metals can be beaten into thin sheets. Okay, you can make a thin sheet out of it, and this property of metals is known as malleability. You can make a very thin sheet out of any metal. You must have seen aluminium foils at your home and silver foils on some sweet. Both of them are due to malleable property of aluminium and silver. You can make it as thin as a paper. Gold and silver are the most malleable metals that are known. Malleable means they can be bended, they can be made into sheets. So you can wear gold jewelry and silver jewelry because they can be made into any design you want to select. But non-metals are easily broken. They are brittle. Okay, they are brittle means they are easily broken. Thus they cannot be beaten into sheets and non-malleable. They cannot be bent. Ductility. You must have seen copper wires used as electrical wires. Also, you must have seen an aluminium wire. These show that most metals may be beaten into thin wires. Okay. These show that most metals can be beaten into thin wire. This ability of metals to be drawn into thin wire, when you can make a metal into a very thin wire, that will be known as ductility. So you might have seen aluminium wire and you might have seen copper wire also in the wire. If you remove the plastic covering, you may see the copper wire into the wire. Now gold is also most ductile metal. Okay, you can make a wire out of the gold. 1 gram of gold metal can be drawn into gold wire of about 2 kilometer in length. See how long the wire can be, okay, with just 1 gram of gold. Non-metals, they are brittle and hence non-ductile. They cannot be made into any sheet. They cannot be made into any wire because they are easily broken down. Sonority. What is called sonority? Ringing metal. Okay. Now metals, when a metal piece is struck with something hard, it produces a ringing sound. This property of metal is known as its sonority, and the metals are said to be sonorous. Bells, wind chimes, and other objects use this property of metals. Sonorous substance. When a metal piece is struck with something hard, it produces a ringing sound. This property of metal is known as sonority, and the metals are said to be sonorous. Bells, wind chimes, and other objects use this property of metals. Now you can see this bowl is made up of metal, okay, a metal of steel. So when I bang this with the hard object, it produces a ringing sound. This ringing sound is known as its sonority, okay. Non-metals are non-sonorous and produce a very dull sound when struck with hard object, okay, not a ringing sound. Thermal conductivity. Metals. Most of the metals are good conductors of heat. Silver and copper are the best conductor of heat. Okay, silver and copper, they are also, copper can be beaten into wires. Okay, and silver is also good conductor of heat. Owing to this property of metal, they are used to make utensils. Lead and mercury are the metals that are poor conductor of heat. You cannot make utensils out of lead and mercury because mercury is found in the liquid state and lead is a very soft or a poor conductor of heat. Non-metals. You can find lead in the pencil. Non-metals. Non-metals are poor conductor of heat. Poor means they do not carry any type of heat. Diamond being an exception, which is a very good conductor of heat. Okay, you can pass heat through diamond. Electrical conductivity. Metals such as copper and silver are good conductor of electricity. Thus, copper wire are used as electric wires. Okay, they are carry electricity or they can carry heat. These elements are poor conductor of electricity, graphite being an exception. Thus, most metals are insulator. Insulator means what? It will not carry any type of electricity. Okay, they will protect us from the electricity, such as plastic also, but plastic is non-metal. Okay, now see, we are going to do your activity. We have to connect each and everything, copper wire, iron nail, graphite and charcoal with the battery cell, and we have to see if the electricity is able to pass. So a copper wire, yes, of course, iron nail, graphite and charcoal also can conduct electricity. Melting and boiling points of metals and non-metals. Generally, metals have a high melting and boiling point. That's why vessels are used of metals only. The melting point of iron is 1536 degrees Celsius and its boiling point is 3000 degrees Celsius. Okay, it will start boiling at 3000 degrees Celsius and it will start melting at this Celsius. Okay, however, gallium and Caesium are two metals that have very low melting point. They melt even if you pick them on your palm. Okay, and non-metals, most of the non-metals have low melting and boiling points. For example, melting point of sulfur is also non-metal, 119 degrees Celsius. Carbon being an exception, it has a very high melting point. Okay, 3723 degrees Celsius. You know, diamond is made up of carbon only. Now we are going to see a summary of metals and non-metals and their physical properties. See student, luster, all metal have luster, metals no luster, no shining. Hardness, very hard and not hard. Malleability, highly malleable, they can be beaten into sheets, and non-malleable. Ductility, which can be drawn into wire, ductile. Okay, except these are all, here are some exceptions. Non-ductile except carbon fiber. Conductivity, they are good conductor of heat. Tungsten, okay, and here bad conductor of heat. Okay, except graphite and gas carbon. Density, they have a very state they are always in solid, except mercury and gallium, and solid and liquid in non-metal. Density, they have a very high density, except sodium and potassium, they have very low density, and except diamond. Diamond is a very thick structure of non-metal. So you can complete this table with the help of this table. Okay. Now, chemical properties of non-metals and metals. We have already seen physical property, how do they look, how are they beaten into sheets, how do they react. Now we are going to see chemical properties of metals and non-metals. The chemical property include reaction with oxygen, reaction with water, reaction with acid, reaction with base, and displacement reaction. Now we are going to see how the metals will react with oxygen. If any metal is taken, metal plus oxygen, it will give metal oxide. If any metal is going to react with the oxygen, it will always release oxide. Okay, as a result. Sodium is also a metal, but if it is reacted with the oxygen, so it will form sodium oxide because there is a oxygen in it. Okay, the 4 atoms of sodium and oxygen, so it will give sodium oxide. Now copper. Okay, copper reacts with oxygen. Copper is a metal. It will react with oxygen to form copper oxide because it is react with oxygen. So always it will give oxide. So 2 atoms of copper plus oxygen, it will give copper oxide. Magnesium reacts with oxygen for producing dazzling white light and to form magnesium oxide. So magnesium plus oxygen will give magnesium oxide. Most of the metallic oxides are basic in nature and turn red litmus blue. Metallic oxides are thus called basic oxide. Magnesium oxide formed due to reaction of magnesium with air when dissolved in water leads to formation of magnesium hydroxide. Because hydroxide means what? It is made up of H2O. Water is what? H2O. So whenever magnesium is dissolved, if it is reacted with the air, what will form? It will form magnesium hydroxide. Whenever it is dissolved in water, because water is H2O. Okay, so it will give magnesium plus hydroxide. These, when tested with a red litmus paper, when magnesium hydroxide is tested with the red litmus paper, it turns blue, means it is basic in nature. This proves that metal oxides are basic in nature. Can you represent this reaction in the form of chemical equation? Okay. Now non-metal. They react with oxygen to produce non-metallic oxide. These oxides are acidic in nature as they produce acid when dissolved in water. Okay. Thus they turn blue litmus red. Metallic oxides are therefore called acidic oxide. For example, carbon. Carbon is a non-metal. When it will react with the oxygen, it will form carbon dioxide. Okay, because there are 2 atoms of oxygen. So carbon plus oxygen will give carbon dioxide. Okay, and if it is reacted with carbon plus water, that is H2O, it will give carbonic acid because there is H2O. So H2 will be displaced here and CO3. How does this 3 came? Because 2 atoms of oxygen here and 1 atom of oxygen here. So they are reacted with each other, and this H2. Okay. Sulfur reacts with oxygen to form sulfur oxide, a pungent gas. This gas, when dissolved in water, leads to formation of sulfurous acid. So when sulfur is reacted with oxygen, what it will give? Sulfur dioxide, because there are 2 atoms of oxygen. Sulfur plus oxygen, if it is reacted with the water, what will give? H2 of course, and O. 1, 2 and 3. 3 atoms of oxygen are there. Sulfur dioxide plus water will give sulfuric acid. Okay, these are in acid state. Okay. Reaction with water. Metals. What happens when metals are reacted with water? Metal plus water will give metal oxide or metal hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. For example, sodium and potassium metals react violently with cold water. This reaction releases lot of heat, which is efficient for the hydrogen gas released to catch fire. So if you are going to mix sodium plus water, what it is going to give you? Sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen. Okay, here also potassium is also a type of a metal, but it is reacted with the water. What it will give? Potassium hydroxide and hydrogen. Okay, here see, 2 atoms of potassium and 2 atoms of H2O. So we'll give 2 KOH. These both are reacting, okay, with each other, plus hydrogen will be released. See student, here also calcium is reacting with water. What will it give? It will give calcium hydroxide. Okay, whenever it is going to react with water, it will give you hydroxide, and whenever it is going to react with oxygen, it will going to give oxide. Okay, you always have to remember hydroxide with water. Okay, metals such as gold, silver, lead and copper do not react with water at all. How much water you will put on gold or silver or lead or copper, they are not going to give any reaction, they are not going to give any type of a gas. Okay, and non-metals, they do not react with water. You have not seen any oxygen or carbon reacting with water. Okay, now corrosion. Metal articles when exposed to air, okay, very important, when exposed to air and moisture for longer time, lose their luster. Luster means shine. This is due to the reaction of metal with some of the gases in the air, which leads to the formation of thin layer of metal carbonate, oxide or sulfide. The process of gradual destruction, gradual means slowly, destruction of a metal due to attack of atmospheric gases and moisture on its surface is called corrosion. So what is corrosion? When the metal is exposed to a atmospheric gases for a longer period of time, and also with the water. For example, iron metal is kept in the rain, what will happen? It will start rusting. So iron is a metal and it is exposed to oxygen plus water in the air. So what is going to happen? Rust is going to happen. So when this process of gradually the metals are going to be destructed, okay, because of the attack of atmospheric gases on it, so it will be known as corrosion. Okay, corrosion is not good for metals. Silver articles such as silver jewelry become black after some time when exposed to air. This is due to reaction of silver with hydrogen sulfide gas present in the air. So when the silver is going to react with the hydrogen sulfide which is present in the air, it will give you in the air and moisture, which leads to the formation of silver sulfide, a black layer on its surface. Now I am going to show you a picture of silver corrosion. See, here you can see a beautiful jewelry, but because of the reaction how it is turned into black color. Okay, this is called corrosion.